What's going on, everyone? It's time for John Romita Jr.
It is. But first,
Yes, we have some sponsors we got to read off here.
sponsors. The Shortbox Podcast is a weekly podcast running since 2012. They touch on topics such as comics and pop culture. They have industry professionals, actors, musicians, and content creators who regularly join the show to chat about their projects and the latest fandom news. If you're looking for a new podcast, check out the Shortbox Podcast.
JJ's Comics and Art. Head over to their Instagram. Right on their bio, you can find stuff like comics signed by Doug Mankey, maybe some prints, some original art, a whole bunch of amazing things. Go check it out. Tomorrow, his website goes live, though. So that's going to be pretty awesome.
Scott's Collectibles reps some of the top creators in the business today. We were lucky enough to get a few of their creators. Head over to scottscollectibles.co.uk to see the latest offerings.
MajorPain.com just launched and is adding new comics every day. Like them on Facebook and join their insiders group, or feel free to just give them a call and they can help you out finding the comics or comic art you're looking for.
Alpha Omega Certification is the official CGC facilitator for Conline. Check out their website, alphaomegacertification.com, for an amazing list of signature submission opportunities.
OutRightGeekery.com, the exclusive news provider for Comic Conline. If you're interested in checking out the latest in comic news, head over to their website and everything you need is right there.
The Comic Book Shopping Network is a group on Facebook. Check them out. It's a hub for retailers to come together daily for live sales. It's just an awesome place to be.
www.oasiscomics.com, your official home for Jay Lee and David Barron exclusive covers. Right now, they have the Power Rangers exclusive color blank sets.
And get your Art Germ Lady Death Comic Con line exclusive at coffincomicsshop.com. That runs through Monday.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, yes.
Are they ready?
I hope they're ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to watch this.
All right, guys, here it is. We're going to bring these guys on, and we're going to get out of here. First, we're going to bring on John Romita Jr.
Oh, ladies and gentle people, how are you?
And now Greg and I are going to take a hike, and we're going to let Rich Capobianco chat with Mr. Romita here. And here we go. All right, you guys have a good time, and I can't wait to watch this.
Fair enough. By the way, Mr. Romita lives in Queens.
Mr. Romita does live in Queens. That's true. You're John.
I'm just John. That's right.
So they told me I had to interview you, so I decided to drink.
Trust me. You need to drink when you interview me.
How are you?
All right. I'm doing fine. There's a tropical storm surrounding the house. That sucks.
Mine too. That's crazy.
Yes. It's stupid.
Yeah, we're both fellow New Yorkers. We've been getting the brunt of it for the past 3 months. Why not?
I honestly think that the governor of this state, the moron that is the governor of the state, should take the water that we have extra because of all the rain and sell it to California. We would make a fortune.
Fortune. Absolutely. So outside the end of the world, the apocalypse, the whole thing going on, what you been up to? What you been doing?
Right about here. Right. This is what I've been up to. Right about
I think I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm at the not breathing part anymore.
I'm still loving this job. This is the best job to have. It's better than having a real job. So I love doing this. And I'm working on Action with Brian Bendis and Klaus Janson. And I love working with the two of those guys. And Klaus is a brilliant artist to begin with, let alone an ink artist. And Brian is Brian. So I'm having a great time. And Superman is Superman. But there's so many extra characters added to this.
Yeah.
Even got a cover to show you all. This is a cover I can't show too long because it's supposed to be secret.
That's very cool. Everybody who saw that, screenshot it. What's that like? What's a creative meeting like with Bendis and Klaus and all that stuff? You guys all just get on the phone with each other? Are you emailing each other? What are you doing?
It's mostly email. Brian's on a different time zone, and he sends me his script / plot. But it's a script, and then I play with it, storytelling wise. And should anything in it need, in my opinion, a change of any kind of way, I don't know, a pacing difference from what he's asked for, I just call him or contact him via email and discuss it with him. But I take a script and then I play with it, storytelling, pacing wise, write notes, set it out, ready for me, and then I start. If there's any questions about reference, I ask them to send them any and all reference, and then I run with it. Then I get I do have to spend a couple of hours referencing things for myself in general. For instance, the last issue was full of construction site images.
Okay.
So I peeled apart the internet for about 6 or 7 shots of construction sites, that kind of thing. And I like to reference and get exact reference so that it's at least there's an accuracy part to it. And then I run with it and I send whatever I can to Klaus. And Klaus, of course, makes everything look beautiful. So I have a lot of fun doing this, and also knowing I'm going to work with Klaus again, knowing Klaus is going to be there for me.
Yeah.
But Brian and I have a great camaraderie as far as the storytelling and the pacing out of what he gives me. And
Absolutely.
The man's brilliant. The man's genius. It's fun. Now, he does add way too many characters. It's always a cast of thousands. But
How many characters did you make you draw at once?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's always a bunch of people. It never seems to be one character issue.
It's never just Superman just standing there. It's Superman, it's the Justice League, it's the Legion of Doom. It's everybody.
I ask him, and I ask the editors, Superman in a loincloth in the desert. Now, that would be fun to me. Don't have to worry about backgrounds.
Yep, that's it.
And then Brian would say, well, we're in the desert, so several thousand grains of sand turn into aliens, and then we would have a nice battle.
There you go. Now, outside of action, you're working on a fun project. You were on last time. This is your second appearance on this Conline. My first. And last time I listened to you talk about a project you're working on with Howard Chaykin. You want to tell us what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's called Schmuggy and Bimbo, and it's been waiting way too long for me to finish the third issue. Halfway through the second, and another issue and a half, and we can start promoting it. I approached Howard a million years ago with an idea I had about two people, literally, that grew up with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And amongst those names of characters that grew up with my parents, one was Schmuggy, one was Bimbo. There's a lot of other names that are comical at best, but these two characters are very interesting characters, to say the least, and they protected the neighborhood. So when we were kids, my parents would my parents and my uncles and my uncles and aunts would tell stories about their neighborhood in the 40s. Mm-hmm. And the name Schmuggy always stuck with my cousins and me because the name was so original. And we heard what the character looked like. And my father said he looked like a catcher's mitt. I said, I got to talk about this character. So I got a lot of stories from uncles and aunts. And I decided to come up with something original. And of course, Bimbo was part of it.
Yeah.
Because Bimbo, although in the book looks like a very, Italian-looking colossus out of armor, with no armor. But Schmuggy
got the suit with the slick back hair and everything like that.
Yeah. Yep. And if you recall Howard's idea, I approached Howard. Howard's idea was to place it in the 70s instead of the 40s because we grew up in the 70s, Howard and I. So we kind of applied it. The grungy, disgusting, dirty New York City of the late 70s, mean streets, Scorsese kind of thing, was Howard's idea. And I handed the treatment to him, and he turned it into these brilliant plots, brilliant plots and scripts. And we ran with it. And it's black and white, all pencil, charcoal, extensive labor-intensive work.
I love that.
And there's a lot of stuff in between the last 5-7 years that made me wait this long. But I've had enough of incentive from my wife and from Howard and a few other people saying, get off your fat ass and finish Schmuggy and Bimbo.
Yeah, you've had this thing called Superman getting in the way and stuff. So,
well, we're not getting paid for it until it comes out. And anyway,
there you go.
Push has come to shove, and it's time to finish it. And that's what I'm going to do in the spare time, in the 8th or 9th day of the week that I have available.
Yes, God willing, they'll give you those 8 and 9 days, man.
I got to talk to the big guy upstairs.
Yeah. So just a bit of housekeeping for everybody watching and stuff like that. Number one, I told you before we got live, John, that I brought my iPad up so that I could watch the comments and see what people are saying.
Right.
It doesn't work. So that's not happening. Two,
I'm sorry.
I was supposed to be at your place to go sign books today, but due to tropical storms and extenuating circumstances, you and I will be meeting up next week. We'll be getting all the customer books that were sent in signed. You and I are also going to do around 10 sketches that we're going to auction off for St. Jude's.
Correct.
And you and I have worked together a few times with the St. Jude's people, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, and it wasn't them approaching me per se, or me approaching them. It happened because of we have a niece. My wife and I have a niece named Jordan, who was diagnosed with medulloblastoma when she was 2 years old in 2002.
Wow.
And that's where our marathon sessions came, where we would sign and sketch for 48 hours, 50 hours, and so on, raised money on the side. And then it kind of morphed organically into doing something for the children's cancer funds, which were underfunded, we found out.
Yes.
And it just morphed into the St. Jude's people, who are wonderful. And that's it. So now, any chance I get, we try to do something for them, as long as we know some of it goes to the children's funds, because the children's cancer funds are underfunded, folks. And on one serious moment, we've got to consider that, because children don't just draw from the general cancer fund, as you might imagine.
Yes. Now I'll tell everybody a story on my end. A few months ago, St. Jude's people actually flew me out to Memphis to go see the facility and everything like that. And it was funny because,
Wonderful.
yeah, no, it was great. We were there for 2 days and talked about everything, and everyone knew John Romita Jr. They knew comics. They knew what you and I had worked together with on the Superman Year One issues, and doing a whole entire event for the kids and stuff like that. Every one of them comic fans, and a phenomenal organization. And you and I love doing that stuff for them. So
I love it. And
it's great.
sketches
Anything you can do to help the kids.
Hopefully those sketches will do the job. I'm hoping they do.
Absolutely. Especially
I got to meet Marlo. I have to meet Marlo Thomas at some point. I don't know how old she is, but I got to meet her.
Oh, was that the person you were speaking to?
No, she's the daughter of Danny Thomas, who started St. Jude's.
See, I just forget things nonstop.
She's the face of it. Danny Thomas was a 50s, 40s, and 50s character. Comedian. TV show host as well. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And Marlo Thomas took over for that. And I don't know how old she is or what her health is like, but I'd love to meet her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they did a tour of the facility with us. It was just wonderful. But
unfortunately,
you and I...
Unfortunately, Marlo Thomas is married to that talk show host. I forgot his name.
Oh, God.
The silver-haired guy. I forgot what his name is.
There's so many silver-haired guys. But yeah, you and I will be hanging out. We'll do 10 sketches. I've pre-picked what characters we should work on. I think it'll be fun and everybody will enjoy it.
Looking forward to it. Excellent.
On the remarks, I got a kick out of somebody requested Typhoid Mary.
No kidding.
Someone requested a Typhoid Mary. So I'm going to actually fill that one for sure.
All right. That's a fun character because of the history, but let's not get into that.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What's like, now you've been in the industry for a while, a little bit,
okay.
The length of a cup of coffee, we'll say.
Sure.
What's been like your most like seminal, proud experience you've had in the comic book industry, what you've worked on?
I'm sorry, you say crowd?
Proud.
Oh, proud.
Seminal.
There's a couple. There's one for the sake of very proud of the product, which is The Man Without Fear, which I see occasionally, and I look at it and say, wow, everything worked with Frank that day. But the other one that I'm so proud of and sad over is the 9/11 issue of Spider-Man 36, which the anniversary of which is coming up a little over a year. So I honestly, I can't open it up, but I'm very proud of the product. Along with Scott Hanna and I, we really we rose above the fray, so to speak, because because we had both of us had trepidation about it, being that it was a horrible attack and people died, so many people died, and we didn't want to try to capitalize on that tragedy. When we found out how it was being handled, it was a little bit easier. Joe Straczynski was genius when what he came up with. I'm proud of that, beyond proud, but sadder than sad, because I open that book up and it just brings tears, just like anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can definitely see in that book too, is definitely like your heart and soul is in that book. You know what I mean? Like it is heartfelt to the core. That whole thing, start to finish.
Scott and I just really, both of us, an out of body experience, so to speak, is that I don't know if either one of us remembers what we were doing while we were working on it, because it was such a horrible time.
Right. Yeah, no, very interesting time for us. One that changed everything, but proud moment nonetheless. Sad moment, understandable. Man Without Fear, though, brings you back to Daredevil, and here's a question I've always wanted to ask you, and I've known you for a while. Your beginnings in comic books. What was the moment that said, I want to do comics? And of course, you come from your family, talented group of people, this, that, and the other. What was that moment where you're like, I want to do this?
The story that I have told forever, and it's such a clear moment in my mind, was walking up. My father used to work in an attic in Queens. There was a pull down attic ladder. And people that are from New York City will remember, you pull down those wooden ladders, fold it down, and you climb up.
Yep.
And my father would work in the attic above my brother and I as we slept. And every night, the monsters would come out from underneath my bed and scare the shit out of me. And I had to go up and visit my father. And nothing was good about it because he was drawing romance comics.
Yeah.
So I go up there and I'd fall asleep. But one night in the middle of the night, he was working on Daredevil number 12, and that was the issue that has Kazar up.
Kazar on the cover, yeah.
With the Plunderer being surrounded. The Plunderer surrounding Daredevil, the Plunderer and his lackeys. And I walked up, and I apparently the top of my head exploded because I saw him doing something different, and he was patient enough after not sleeping for a couple of days, just got into a conversation. Dad, what is this? And he explained to me that that's a superhero, the guy in the costume with the horns on his head, because it was black and white. He was inking it.
Sure.
And he said, this is the bad guy, and that's his bad guy lackeys. And I've watched enough movies with him to know about the bad guys and the good guys and the groups of bad guys and the lackeys and the thugs. And he just explained that this is a superhero. He's got special powers, and he's going to beat up all these guys. Wow. He's going to beat up all those guys. And who's this guy in a tree? Well, he's kind of Tarzan, and he's got this gigantic saber-toothed tiger that he runs around with. Oh, my God. And he went on to say that there's a big battle that goes on in the book, and Daredevil wins. And, oh, by the way, he's blind. And apparently my head blew up again. Because I think I was 7 years old at the time. And according to my father, I sat down, just sat there and watched him draw. And he spoke to me and explained everything to me patiently while he was drawing and inking. And I started to grab paper and started scratching things. And it kind of morphed from there. I don't know if I decided to be an artist at that point, but it began because I was drawing from then on in, according to him. And I'm a hell of an athlete, but I'm not big enough to play Major League Baseball. So it didn't work out that way. And I can't sing or dance. So here we are.
Same. I can't do either
Although I
of
can
those
dance.
things.
I can dance. I can't sing.
I can't dance. So there you go. So is Daredevil like your character? Is that the one you gravitate towards? Is if you see something in the street or a comic store or something like that, is Daredevil like, oh, let me go check those out?
Yeah, I love Daredevil. Love the character. And ironically, the Daredevil and the Batman characters, great visual, simplistic characters. Batman with that silhouette is just fantastic with the cape. A lot of artists pine to work on Batman for that reason, and the dark, moody stuff. And you can do the same thing with Daredevil. And working on that character with Frank, Man Without Fear, secured that character in my head as one of the most fun characters to draw.
Yeah.
Again, there's the great silhouette. You got the horns, and you can play with the dark, and etc.
And the acrobatics too.
Yes, and ironically, my father worked on Spider-Man and Daredevil. I forgot which was first. I believe it was Daredevil first, then Spider-Man. And he would explain the difference between the two. Spider-Man was an awkward, amazingly strong, but awkward and lithe character, while Daredevil was more balletic and elegant and more classy, so to speak, in his movements. So hearing those explanations of the characters just cemented things in my head. And then, of course, driving around Queens with my parents, going out to dinner or visiting relatives, and then driving past the building that Peter Parker lived in, according to my parents. That's where Peter Parker lives. Spider-Man lives there, and so on. And then knowing about Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan and where Daredevil and Matt Murdock live. That's the best thing about the fact that New York was part of the lore of these characters.
Yeah.
We were in New York.
Yeah, Marvel
when I
was the
found
New
out,
York City outside your window.
it's true. And when I found out that those characters lived in New York, as opposed to a metropolis of Gotham City that we didn't have a grasp of.
Sure.
And even though my father explained, well, it's just another name for New York. You know, they call New York City Gotham, they call it a metropolis, etc.
Yep.
But it didn't grab me as much as those characters living in my hometown, which was a big, interesting part of this. And it just kind of blossomed.
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's funny too, though, if you go to Hell's Kitchen now and you're just like, wow, Daredevil will be guarding a lot of burger joints.
True. That's
like,
true.
what are you protecting around here?
Yeah.
So,
a little bit of a difference.
That's fantastic. I mean, like, so outside of your father, obviously, what were some of your influences in this industry? Like, what was the things you were looking at and viewing and being like, oh, I kind of like the way that is?
In the industry itself?
In the comic world, art world, like, what were some of the things you're like, I'd like to see that?
Jack Kirby's, the Ditkos, the Kuberts, brilliant artists. John Buscema, brilliant artists. My father, of course. There were so many artists that were heads, shoulders, and towered above us as young artists. But what they gave us was incentive to try and be like them. Now, as far as outside the industry, when I went to schools, high school, and learning art in public school, illustrators, the Gibsons and so on, J.C. Leyendeckers and
Okay.
Big fan of J.C. Leyendecker because he gave it, as opposed to Gibson, that was more realistic. That Leyendecker had so much realism, but it was a stylized realism.
Sure.
And the Arrow shirt ads, the pointy jaw lines, and so on. And then Norman Rockwell and the Wyeths. All of this stuff, first of all, it keeps your feet on the ground because no matter how good I am or going to be, you go to a museum or gallery and you realize you're shit compared to these people. Same feeling with the Kirbys and the Buscemas and the Romita Seniors and the Kuberts. Oh, damn. Neil Adams. Talk about Howard Chaykin. Brilliant. Yep. Frank Miller, Jim Lee, Capullo, the Kubert boys. Pisses me off that all these people are better than I am. And I really used that as an incentive. I was telling Andy Kubert this when we worked on, believe it or not, Andy Kubert came up with the sketch for this fantastic cover. And
okay.
He and I were talking about it. And I said, it's annoying to have competition like you around. I'm always in competition. You, your brother. And he said, yeah, I feel the same way about you, but it gives you incentive to work harder.
Absolutely.
And there's so many artists that do so many things better than me, but at least, even at this advanced age, I'm 185, at least at this age, I still have the urge to get better.
Well, you're a very humble man. You don't look a day over 134. So you got that going for you.
Tight underwear and being Sicilian helps.
Fair enough. So with that and all these artists and all the things that inspired you, do you follow any current art trends now? Like, do you look at any of the new stuff, these digital paintings that people do? Earlier we had artist Carla Cohen on. She does oil painted covers and stuff. Do you check out any of that type of stuff?
I do definitely. And it's not so much the painting, the digital paintings. I look at the art of many, many different books because I'm a fan of that. I also... Sure. Excuse the expression, you got to keep up with the Joneses.
Yes.
There's people that are half my age that I have to pay attention to. And then there's guys similar to my age, like the Capullos and the Kubert boys. I have to look at these brilliant artists. Jim Lee, every time Jim Lee does a cover or a pinup, I want to strangle him. I love it because it does give me at least incentive to beat them, so to speak. If I were an athlete, let's say, I would be proud of my teammates, but I'd always want to try and prove I'm as good as, or if not better than them. I equate that to athletics. Baseball. Yeah. I'm a baseball player from way back when. There's always, listen, my father said these words to me once. There's always somebody bigger, better, stronger, smarter, better looking. All right, well, the better looking part, forget about that. Bigger, better, stronger, smarter, and a better artist than you. If you deal with it and you accept it, and work at approaching that to change it, that's fine. But always remember there's somebody better than you. And he's right. I got those three guys, the Kirby, four guys, Kirby, Romita Sr., Joe Kubert, and John Buscemi. Think about it. You'll never be better than these guys. However, it's that pole vault. It's the 7-foot pole vault. You got to reach for it.
Yeah, no, and that's wonderful. It's also good inspiration too, because it's like you've been in the industry for a while, you know, like you've done all the major characters and you still are like, I want to do better than that, you know, and this artist still pisses me off, you know what I mean?
With a couple of drinks in me at conventions, I'll always tell people, I want to have 1 year where I have hit it right and I'm considered the top guy. It doesn't matter if it happens. It's still inside me to get there. I want to be the fastest guy on the baseball team. I want to be the best hitter on the baseball team. But my team's important. So no, I, me stuff. However, I do need to improve always. And if you're an artist and you don't feel you need to improve, then you're going to slide back.
Absolutely. So just as a side note real quick, because you've been bringing up baseball a lot and you're a baseball fan, who's your team?
I'm a Yankee fan and I am also a Met fan. I'm one of those people learned from my father, who was a New York fan, and so am I. If they were a third New York team, I'd root for them.
There's the Ducks.
I'm not a fan of every New York team. The Brooklyn Nets. But my father took me to Yankee games. I hate to say this, in the 50s when I was a little guy. He took me, and we had obstructed views of Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, and that smell of grass. I think Billy Crystal, comedian, said it. You walk into Yankee Stadium back then, all you smelled was grass.
That's
and
true.
So I watched the Yankees, but I also rooted for the Mets when the Mets were created. I was going to Yankee Stadium before the Mets were around. I was a little guy, but my uncle and my father would take us. So I'm a big fan of both teams. I am a Yankee fan from way back when.
Never liked the Yankees. I always liked Shea Stadium better. Easier commute.
All I know is I got a chance to watch Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, and I saw Musial play. I saw Roberto Clemente play.
Okay, so now it makes sense why you're a Yankees fan. Because you see the greats.
But I got a chance to see, now because of Met games, because of Shea Stadium, I had a neighbor when we were living in Queens who was a Pirate fan. He was from Pittsburgh. He moved to New York. And he was an older guy, and he would get us tickets. And we would go with him. Willie Stargell, Roberto Clemente. These are Hall of Famers. And then, you know, when the Cardinals came to town, Stan Musial played. And I got a chance to see some of the greatest players ever. And I got a chance to enjoy and another thing about being in Queens, when Shea Stadium was around, it was a lot easier to get to than it was in the Bronx. So my father, being a fan of everybody, also liked the Brooklyn Dodger history with the Mets, the colors, etc. We went to go see him.
Hell yeah. I mean, I used to just laugh that I would go to a Yankees-Mets Subway Series, and if I went to Yankee Stadium, it was a $120 ticket, but if I went to Shea Stadium, it was like a $40 ticket. So I always enjoyed that aspect. Corey, who you were on with before when we were in the waiting area and stuff, he's unfortunately a Kansas City Royals fan.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's from Kansas City.
All right, he's from.
I
enjoy the Mets, and I rooted for the Mets when they were championship teams. The '69 Mets was an exceptional time. There's 73. There's always something about each team. The Yankees, with their history, is one thing, but the Mets are the underdogs all the time, and I can't not root for the underdog.
I've been saying I'm the biggest fan of a losing team for about 33 years of my life now. So back on comics real quick. What do you think about the state of the whole entire with COVID and losing the convention scene and you've been awesome at coming on these virtual ones. Do you miss going to cons? Was there a con that you liked going more to than others? Did you feel about them?
I've definitely missed the cons. And I have enjoyed them more and more as I've gotten older. Mm-hmm. The San Diego Comic-Con has a special place in my heart. My wife is from San Diego. We lived there for the first 10 years of our marriage, moved back after 9/11, and we're going to move back to California as soon as somebody buys our house here. So I'm looking forward to getting back to California. My middle stepson lives in downtown San Diego in a beautiful apartment, and I just love Southern California. So I really have enjoyed San Diego to the utmost for so many years. And I missed that. And when that was canceled, that broke my heart. But I understood any shows that have been canceled that I've been invited to. Just so it's not so much disappointed in not being able to do the show. There's a good reason for it.
Yes.
But I enjoy so much meeting so many people. The people that go to these shows, whether they're fans of the business in general, if somebody is a fan of mine, I don't know, it doesn't matter. They come up, they smile, they shake your hand. Yeah, we used to shake hands at conventions. COVID has stopped that, but I love meeting these people and hearing. I even had a guy come up to me and say, "I'm not a fan of yours, but I want you to sign my book." That to me is comedy at its best. I love
That
it.
is funny. It's pretty good. Now, when you go to shows, what's your most requested? Like, somebody comes up, like, please do a sketch of this. Like, what's your most requested character?
Spider-Man.
Always Spider-Man?
Yeah. Now, lately, the last several years, last 5-7 years, Batman and Superman, and that's fine. But I still get an enormous amount of Spider-Man sketches to do, and Daredevil requests. But Spider-Man, definitely.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Who do you, and this is between us, nobody else needs to know this. Who's your favorite character to draw?
To draw.
Yeah, who's
Daredevil.
your favorite?
My favorite to draw physically is Daredevil. I think my favorite character overall, I'm going to hold and reserve judgment for, because until I started working for DC, hadn't considered how spectacular the top 3 characters are. I was not so much a snob with Marvel, but I was a little bit insulated, and I thought Spider-Man and Daredevil and Cap and the Hulk were the greatest characters. And then I work for DC and find out that Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Green Lantern are spectacular characters. And Superman, the oldest character and the most iconic character in the history of the business. I adjusted my opinions, and now I embrace Batman, Superman. Love it. Love doing it.
Yeah, and it's also like I always looked at it weird because it's like Superman, Batman, like Daredevil and Spider-Man. I always looked at it like people who have like problems that I could have too. You know what I mean? Batman, Superman don't. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the same problems I do, and they always have. So do you, when you go into that with like your art style choices and stuff like that, like do you get working on Batman, Superman the more larger than life feel to it, and like this more grand, like it's in space, it's here, it's this, that, and the other, or is it like you can compartmentalize and be like these guys all belong in their own specific places?
The latter. I think Batman is less so a New York City character as much as it's a back alley, non-cosmic character. And I love that gritty back alley stuff. We all know that Gotham is New York City, so to speak. Well, no, it is. It's New York City with a different name.
Yeah.
But Batman to me is the, everybody equates him to Captain America. I equate him to the Punisher personally. And I enjoy the Punisher because first of all, the Punisher looks like every relative I have, but that's beside the point. Batman is the same location to me as the Punisher. And I love that gritty back alley stuff. Daredevil, Spider-Man, Batman is that back alley character. And I love it. I love the mood and I love the rain. I was talking to Klaus. We just did a 12-page issue of Batman. And I had to announce to Klaus, it's going to rain in this issue. There's some extra work to be done. And I was brought up on film noir because of my family, my father. And I love that mood of the fedora with the overcoat, walking in the rain.
The hard boiled.
Hard-boiled. And that's what I love about Batman. And I think Batman is right up there as one of, if not the best character of all time. I think he's a better character than Superman. However, Superman is international. You know?
Yeah, it's fun because Superman and Batman are like the alpha and the omega, right? Like one has everything, every power and everything, and one doesn't. So
one has the money to have power.
One has the money to have the power, but he also won't come out before 5 p.m.
There you go.
So there's that. And I mean, there's some aspects of VR I really love, like in year one, Superman year one that you just did with Frank Miller and stuff. And there was issue 2 where, issue 1 I love. Issue 2 when he's underwater with oh god, I'm gonna forget her name, the mermaid.
Oh god, it's a jet.
But he's fighting the underwater creature and everything like that, and it is just this epic scale book. Now, working on the Black Label stuff, you going to plan on doing any more Black Label? Is that something coming on down the line? Or you and Frank maybe talking about Superman Year 2? Like, what's going on?
I'd love to work with Frank and to further this line. Yes, in this story. Love working with Frank. Some of the best work I've done, if not the best work I've done, comes from working with Frank on plots.
Yep.
And Frank allows me to play, and then he fills the dialogue in according to the artwork, and it's always a pleasure. And some of the best work I've done visually, perhaps, as well as storytelling, comes working with Frank. Yeah. I'd love, the answer to your question is, yeah, I'd love to work further on this, and including Year 1, I would love to do more of it. I don't know if that's in the offing or not, but anybody listening, I would love to do more Superman Year 1, Superman Year 2, Superman Year 5, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the reason why I also bring it up is because it was funny, because the last time you and me saw each other was, what, December? When you and Frank came to the store?
Yes.
And you were telling me about the size of that Black Label paper.
Yeah, I was joking about the fact that if I have extra paper, I can always wallpaper my house. The sheets were gigantic.
What were the sizes? You got any lying around?
I don't even. Let me go get one. Don't move.
Go get one. Oh wait.
All right, let me get out a ruler and I'll tell you.
Cool.
Hey, who says we don't pay attention here? First of all,
Exactly.
This sheet is bigger than my first apartment, just so you know. Hold on a sec. There's more to this than you might imagine. It's okay. 16 and a half. The sheet is.
For those of you just joining, we're learning about Black Label paper.
Yeah.
How much?
21 by 16 and a half, as opposed to 11 by 17.
That's a big piece of paper.
It is. It's a large. I forgot whose idea it was to do it. But what it did was, at first, it was intimidating. I was talking to Danny Mickey, who inked, did the ink art on it. It was intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And then you suddenly get a little bit used to it. But what it did was allowed us to do larger vistas and larger expansive images that you can do the same thing on the smaller paper, but this I felt compelled to do larger, I don't know, big country shots.
Yeah.
And this paper allowed you to do that. It was a blast. And we worked on it. It was, I forgot how many pages total, 100, 200 million pages, who knows. Then I went back to 1117 paper and it felt like I was working on postage stamps. It's comical.
Yeah. Now you're just like so tight, just like, oh God, how am I going to fit the face in here now?
Exactly right.
Oh man, that's funny.
It was fun to work on the large paper, and I'll do it again in a second.
That's awesome. So, man, I got so distracted by the idea of drawing on that. How long did it take you to draw on that? How long did it take you to do that?
About a year. I think a year total.
A year.
It was a lot
for
of
the
paper,
3 issues.
Yeah, 3 issues and 100. I forgot how many pages total. I don't even remember. And there's no numbers on the pages. Oh, gee, thanks.
Of course, there's not. It's printed beautifully, though.
I think it was 200 pages total.
Yeah, absolutely.
65, something like that. 200 pages in excess. And we probably could have done 500 pages. There was so many possibilities.
Yeah. For the record, for everybody listening, John came and met with me once, and you signed 2,000 books for me once. The issue 1 probably holds the record. Signed 2,000 books in about an hour and 20 minutes, was it? You were in, I was posted up like, do you want lunch and stuff like that? Within an hour, you're like, bye, gotta go.
Caffeine really works in that case. And listen, it's JR. Even with the date, it works out really quick, and I enjoy it.
It's also true. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, like, you know, I'll ask you also, how's your family doing during all this? Because this has been
everybody's doing well. Thank you for asking. We're doing well.
All right, that's good.
I'm trying not to make too much noise because my wife is I was relaxing for, even in this crappy weather, she's trying to do some work, but she's relaxing, taking a break, and I'm making too much noise, so I have to watch my big mouth.
I'm
the
sorry,
family's doing well. My son Vinny is getting back to work in the sports industry. I have 2 sons that live out. One's out in California, one's in Texas. Very proud of all 3 of these men. They're great men, and everybody's healthy. Knock wood.
No, that's wonderful. That's great. So asking you another comic question. I like I told you when you got on, I'm winging it with you. Like there was no preparation to anything we're doing.
That's okay. Let's just, and if you hesitate, I'll come up with something.
Nah, it's fine. We're already 40 minutes into this, which kind of shocked me already.
Oh, I didn't know that. So another 20 is, you have more for 20 minutes? You got?
Oh yeah, dude. Come on.
All right.
I'm like I'm tipsy enough now.
There you go. See, now you make me want to go pop a bottle of wine. By the way, it's not because it's Friday. I am a wine guy. Love wine. But my son has been with us during this COVID thing, and I don't get many chances to drink with my son. I'm going to tie him down and pop a bottle of wine, and he and I are going to have some tonight.
There you go.
I love wine, and I really envy you right now. I wish I had come up with a glass of wine, but I still have to finish a double page. Hold on.
Show us.
A double page spread.
Oh, wow.
And it's got, I can't get, I'll get closer. There's a new character beating up on the Superman family. And I can't tell you about it. If anybody finds out that I showed you, it wasn't me.
And blur my face out of the picture, too.
All I know is that I've gotten enough done, and I just need another hour and a half, and I'm going to pop a bottle of wine. To me, I'm working every day now. I used to work 5 days a week, right? And I would work through the night invariably. But now, the great part of this job is to adjust. I can work 12 to 15 hours, 6 or 7 days a week, and I don't have to work through the night as often as I used to. But there's something romantic about working through the night, even though my mother told me never to do it, because when you're married, your wife is going to shoot you. My wife has held her weapon at bay and hasn't shot me in 26 years. My mother says I did the wrong thing by working through the night too often. However, working the 7 days, meaning every day is easy to work because I work at home.
Sure.
I can work 12, 15 hours of those days and not have to work through the night, and I get a lot done. I just love this job. It's better than having a real job. It really is. I don't have to dig ditches. And then I'm going to pop a glass of wine. I'll be done, and I have to work tomorrow, so I can't have too much of the wine. I have to work tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, gotcha.
Amen.
I actually was last week I was doing some gardening. I was digging holes in my backyard. I'm like, man, I wish I was a comic artist.
Hey, listen, I was pulling weeds earlier today before the rain came.
Okay, you got a lot more acreage than I do, so I feel for you then.
We're trying to sell the house, so I was out there pulling weeds so that somebody will come up and say, hey, no weeds, I'm going to buy the house.
Oh, geez, that's good. Yeah, hopefully you get that guy.
Oh, here's the funny, yeah, I want to get that guy. The funny part is the real estate lady who did the listing mentioned in her video presentation that the owner is an artist in the comic business, and mentioned Marvel and DC and Marvel. And I honestly, I'm afraid to think of how many people are going to connect it and say, oh, we know who that is. And I hope nobody comes by and bothers my wife. But I never thought that somebody would mention that as part of a scheme to sell a house.
But if it works.
Yeah, if it works. Amen.
If it works.
We have a property out in California that we purchased a couple of years ago, and we're going to build our retirement. I don't know about retirement. Knowing the price of that house, I may not be able to retire till I'm 200.
Hey, you'll make it. You're already 100. And what did you say you were? Like 64?
164. Still got some time left.
You're there. You're good. Now, as far as now I know a lot of artists feel weird about keeping original art or getting gifted. Do you have original art around your place that was either given to you or you have of your own or your dad's or anything like that is sentimental and you just that's yours?
Yes, I do. And
what page? What book?
Well, the Daredevil work that my father did. There's a couple of pages left. There's work that my father did over me. Fixed over me. We have some of that. And then I have a lot of my stuff, my original stuff, but new original stuff. Every once in a while I'll sell off a couple of pieces, but the stuff I did with my father is very important. There's a couple of posters that were covers. Spider-Man in the rain, sitting on a dome.
Oh, so good.
It's one of my favorite images. Again, in the rain, once again.
Yep.
And my father just made it spectacular. And then Villarubio colored it beautifully. That is one of the most important pieces. I still have it, and it's one of the most important pieces. It's never going to go anywhere.
Oh, it's one of the most iconic pieces of Spider-Man art I've ever seen. And Tuesday, when I come over, you're totally going to let me see it, right?
We'll see. You bring the
Okay.
right amount of liquor, we'll talk about it.
I am going to bring wine. So
I'm a Cabernet guy.
Okay, Cabernet. See, now
Cabernet
I know that.
Sauvignon. That's right.
All right, good. Now I know.
And listen, you don't even consider it expensive because I drink Coppola, $17 a bottle. To me, this is the greatest thing about having a very indiscriminate palate. I can
Nice.
drink
I can
cheap
also
wine.
be cheap. Thank God.
I shouldn't say cheap, inexpensive wine.
Moderately cheap.
Moderately.
Now here's something, because not a lot of comic artists experience this, but you have. You were co-creator of Kick-Ass.
Okay.
Made into a movie.
Yes.
2 movies. And they're
Two
also
movies.
thinking about making TV shows now too.
Right.
What's it like seeing a creation of yours like put up there on the screen and stuff like that? What was that like? I'll never know that.
I didn't handle it with aplomb. Let's just put it that way. Not that it was a bad reaction, but when my wife and I went to the premiere of the Kick-Ass film, was sitting in the seats, and for the first time, I actually saw my name on a movie screen. And apparently, my wife had to grab me by the arm and sit down and act like you've been here before. Were her words. Because I just went, oh shit, look.
Yeah.
And my wife is Clint Eastwood compared to me being Don Knotts. I'm just not as cool as she is. And she said, just sit down and relax and act like this is a regular thing for you. That was on a selfish level. It was exciting. But watching that film, actually being on the set while we were filming it and then watching it come out was, it's a different kind. It's a surreal out-of-body experience. It really is. And Mark and I just had the most fun. They even put me in a scene. This is a great anecdote. Matthew Vaughn wanted me to appear in the film because he thought I was, as a New Yorker, I was one of the few, if not the only true New Yorker in the film. There was another guy, I forgot his name, but they filmed me. I was a barista, coffee shop guy.
I think it's a barista still.
Okay. I thought it was a barrister. I thought they wanted me to be a lawyer. Sure,
I like that better. Call it the barrister.
And they filmed me, and I had a small moment, and they cut me out because they said I didn't look authentic enough. That's funny. I was the only guy with a broken nose on the whole set. But I had so much fun. All of the actors, all of them were wonderful people. The director was a great guy. The producer, another good anecdote, the producer was actually afraid of me. Because he really thought I was connected. Because Mark Miller has a nickname for me, Sicilian. Calls me Sicilian. And the director said to me, "Listen, the producer's really terrified of you. He thinks you're connected." I said, "No, don't be ridiculous. I live on a very quiet neighborhood." He says, "No, keep it going. It's fun." So the guy, to this day, I believe he still believes I'm connected and a mafioso, which is funny.
I believe it.
I mean, like I said, everybody had a straight nose except me.
I broke my nose a few times too, man. I feel you. I get it. It's like an Italian thing. You're not really Italian unless your nose has been broken.
Mine was just because I wasn't great in bar fights. That's all.
Same.
0 for 48, as a matter of fact.
See, I'm 0 for 7. So I got a lot of catching
I'm
up
older
to
than
do.
you. I'm
You're
older
by
than
100 years. So
there you go.
There you go. What I do want to do for the last 10 minutes, so I do want to bring Corey and Greg in if they're listening in there, because I'm sure they have things they want to talk to you about.
So they really want to talk after listening to the bullshit?
We're here. We've been watching
live. Well, he's laughing, so that's good.
That's true. That's true. I have to ask him. Did anybody type anything?
There's been stuff going on. It's mostly just a whole bunch of praises for you, man. Like, awesome. People love the original art you showed. Let's see.
You think it's because there are fans out there? These are all relatives of mine. I hired them to pay attention.
It's funny. The first signing I had with John at Midtown when I was working, I asked him to come out, and it was for year 1, issue 1. Right. And there was 245 people lined outside of Midtown Comics in the rain. John stalled in the weather and stuff. Comes inside. He's like, I didn't know I had this many relatives.
Oh, so my jokes are getting repetitive. Oh, shit.
No, because everybody came up and I'm like, "What's your name?" They're like, "Romita," and I'm like, "Okay, like it checks out."
Let's see. Someone asked who your favorite Rogues Gallery was, and your favorite villain.
Oh man. Oh man. I love drawing the Joker, and I didn't think I would ever say that. Love drawing the Joker, and I enjoyed the Green Goblin. Love the Kingpin. There's so many villains. I enjoyed creating Typhoid Mary. Now listen, there's 3 new characters coming up in this Batman action job. Superman action job. 3 new characters that we created, Brian and me. I'm very proud of them. One looks like one of the bouncers that beat the crap out of me years ago. And there's 2 other characters that are great. I honestly, one was on that cover. I'm going to show it again, but I'm not going to tell you the name or the basis of the character. All I know is it's a new character that Brian and I created, and I'm very proud of it.
That's awesome.
And there's 2 others that are spectacular. One's called Whisper, and the other guy is called Fred. Literally, his name is Fred. He's got a big square metal piece on the back of his head. We can't tell you any more about it.
They got a couple of first villain appearances coming up.
But in Rogues Gallery,
what issue is this?
I'm sorry.
I said, what is this? What issue is this for the spec people watching?
This is 1025 is
All right.
a couple of new characters. 1024 and 1025. These new characters are coming up.
Someone asked, what are your thoughts on the current superhero movies? And
I think they're great
on any of them.
I'm a fan of them, and it's a little bit selfish because there's, as well as they do, it perpetuates and supports the industry. If they were all awful, then I would worry because I need 10 years to pay off. I need 10 more years to finish paying off all my bills. So 10 more, and I don't really care what happens to the industry after that. And by the way, in 10 years, I'll be 35 and I'll be ready for retirement.
Perfect.
Oh, right on.
Nice. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, possibly one of the greatest villains of all time, and I apologize to DC, although Darkseid is right there, I think is Dr. Doom.
Love Doom.
Because in his mind, he's not a villain.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. What else do we got here? We'll find a couple others. We have.
Long as Cindy Timpanelli hasn't piped in, we're okay.
Okay,
What's her name again? What's up with her?
She was great lady. Great.
Joe asks, what basketball team do you follow?
Oh boy, I would say I'm a Knicks fan, but boy, what an embarrassment. Yeah, I'm a New York Knicks fan, and I don't like to brag about it, but this new hopefully this new hierarchy is doing the right thing. I like the young players. There's 3 or 4 guys that are going to be spectacular if they are treated properly. But I go back to the Willis Reed days, so I'm stuck and I'm entrenched. Not thrilled with the ownership, but I am a Knicks fan. So hopefully they will wake up.
I enjoy how John talks about being a Knicks fan like somebody in AA. Hi, my name is John, and I'm a Knicks fan.
Hey, anybody that knows basketball knows how embarrassing it is to be a Knicks fan right now.
It's bad. I won't even follow basketball anymore.
And the Brooklyn Nets are showing the Knicks what to do, and the Knicks don't know how to do it.
Yep. No, I went to one Knicks Bulls game years ago when I was a kid. It was Jordan against Ewing and stuff like that. I'm like, that's it. I've seen the pinnacle. I don't need to do anymore.
That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So someone asks where all the pieces that you show them will be auctioned off.
Right here.
Got to get them printed first, and I don't know about auctioning anything off, but I'm going to hold on to everything until I'm a very old man, and maybe pay for a couple of electric bills with it. We'll see what happens.
Vote.
I will be running out of the house with that double-page Superman spread I just saw, though. I will be running out of your house with that.
That's another thing great about Brian Bendis. Bendis loves big, spectacular double spreads. But sometimes he adds too many small panels into it, and I like to stretch. There's another thing. I say I adjust his visuals according to what I like to see, and I have to explain to him. I'm moving a couple of panels to a talking page. I want this double spread, and we just did that in this issue. They allowed me to add a page so I could have a double spread.
Nice.
Love it.
That's great. Side note, since we all been sitting at home, we're all living the artist lifestyle right now. You know, sitting at home, not talking to people.
Right.
You've been watching any good TV? You've been
Oh,
catching up
God.
on anything good?
I don't know if I don't know about that. There's not that much good TV. I don't really watch that much TV. I watch what my wife watches.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I was told by somebody a long time ago to watch what your wife watches. Be interested in what she pays attention to. So I tried to watch her TV, and now I'm a fan of Housewives of New York City. You can't hide this. It's an embarrassment, but I watch it.
John.
And the Beverly Hills ladies too. The truth of the matter is that I'm not thrilled with network TV at all. Not much. There's a couple of shows I'll watch, but I just don't really care for it. So I watch movies, catch up on some sports. Ironically, there's not much going on with sports. So I
saw marble
go
racing
all over the place. And then I will, for instance, I just finished watching Bosch season 1 through season 6.
Okay.
And if anybody has Amazon, that's a great hardened Los Angeles Police Department type of cop stuff. Brilliant work. Love it. So I just finished streaming it, listened to it, because I watched it once before. Now I listen to it while I'm working. I do that with Burn Notice. I've done that with, right now today I have Coupling on, a British comedy. So I have laughter in the background because it's such a miserable day outside. But I'm not a big fan of network TV. I think it's jaded. I think it's at the disposal of some politically motivated bonehead behind the scenes. Don't care for
Always.
The Burn Notice you're talking about, that was one of my favorite shows when it came out, man. I
Which
watched
one?
Burn Notice.
Yeah. I watched it up through past season 7. I thought it was one of the better series ever.
Bruce Campbell, man.
Guy, yes. Jeffrey Donovan, that dude's got some range. Like they had him in that
what was he in recently? He was in something recently.
He played one of the Kennedys in that movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
That's fair.
But I'm really enjoying. Yeah, Burn Notice. I've actually when there's nothing I want on in the room while I'm working, I will put on a series that I've listened to several times. It's a background noise. It's the laughter in the background sometimes, or just something I'm familiar with. I don't have to look at a screen. I know what's going on, and it occupies your mind. Gray noise.
Absolutely. I mean, here's one thing John won't be enjoying next week when I'm at your house with all those books that I have in my house right now.
How many books?
I think we have there's a lot.
You want to give me the number, you coward?
Yeah, I'm totally gonna wuss out of this one and just show up at your house with that.
Oh my God! Hey, listen, my wife is bigger.
So many. Greg and I are flying up to help truck him in.
Hey, listen, my wife Kathy is bigger and stronger than me. She will slap the snot out of you.
I'm friends with Kathy on Facebook. I'll apologize to her in advance.
She is,
but no,
she is stronger than ox. My wife Kathy is a former bodybuilder, and despite her car accident, she is strong as a country ox.
I'll leave you the books and I'll stay outside. That's fun.
All right, I'm just giving you the up. She's gorgeous, intelligent, and strong as a country ox. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we definitely have. You were nice enough to open up to everybody for about 50 remarks, which was beyond generous. I mean, that was fantastic, and it only took a couple days to fill that up. And we're going to do the charity sketches.
Advertise it for a couple days.
Huh?
Okay.
I said the only reason it took a couple days because we didn't advertise it for a couple days.
Exactly. I think up until the day of the show, we were still getting emails and messages.
Those 50. We're doing sketches for St. Jude's, but the remarks are personal.
Yeah. The remarks, there's some that are specific. They're the little ones, that won't be a big deal. They're on specific books and stuff. And then the 10 sketches will be for St. Jude that we will be auctioning off, whether it be, I don't know if Corey wants to do it that day with us there or if he wants to do it a different day. Okay. So
just what better day to do it than with John Romita Jr. right there to talk about drawing it. And I mean,
that would be fun. And
that would be fun.
Explain what I'm doing. Do I have to explain what I'm doing when I'm doing? I don't know what I'm doing when I'm doing it.
I mean,
that's why I'm going to just hold the camera and be quiet. It's going to be great.
And I have to actually talk and act like I know what I'm doing. That's the part.
Okay.
That's the difficult part.
Fair enough.
There's an old joke that Michelangelo once said when asked how he did what he did. He said, "I just chip away everything that doesn't look like the statue of David." Now, I don't know if that's actually a true quote, but that's what I do when I draw. I just avoid, I draw the negative space, and it happens to look like the characters. There you go.
That's a quote to live by. I like it.
All right, guys, we are approaching our 1 hour mark here, so we're gonna have to get into reading our sponsor obligations. John, man, it was amazing having you on. I love having you on.
Are you kidding me? This is a piece of
Greg
cake.
and I weren't even a part of the interview, and we sat here we were supposed to take a break and didn't.
That's okay. You notice I don't have a problem talking through it. But next time we do this, just like with my buddy here, my Italian buddy with his glass of orange juice and vodka, I will have a glass of wine.
Okay, next time. That'll be
Next
for
time.
Tuesday.
Oh,
So
that's right. We're going to film on Tuesday?
Next show,
Yeah, we'll do a little bit.
You guys don't want to get me drunk. You're going to ask me to do stupid things. Don't do that.
was that confirmation for the next show? Is that what that was?
There you go.
And the
Yes,
October
it was.
show.
Whatever you guys need, man, I would love it.
Uh-oh.
Fantastic.
There we
In case
go.
you haven't noticed, I enjoy talking. I'm a very humble and shy kind of guy.
You're so very humble.
And I bring my interviewing skills.
There you go. Gentlemen, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. Even
Same.
looking at my phone, next time I'll use my laptop. But you guys are great. I appreciate it. Rich, I will see you Tuesday. Actually, who else will I see on Tuesday?
Just
All right,
Myself
yeah.
and Greg.
You're going to
Do
just see
I have
me at your
do I have to
place.
feed you guys? I have to actually
No.
feed you guys?
He's
Oh,
in
No.
Florida.
We're going to be here.
You're
We'll
going to just see me.
we'll basically do the same thing we did here. We're going to come on. We're going to set you up, and we're just going to go live from our page. And
All right, but Capa Bianco, I know exactly what to feed the guys, so we're good.
There you go.
New York's not taking people from Florida right now. Anyway.
yeah, New York.
We don't watch you.
All right, I got you. Gentlemen, great to see you all. Rich, I'll see you on Tuesday. Take care,
John,
folks.
pleasure to see you Tuesday, my friend.
All right,
Take care.
See you guys
Thanks.
later.
All right.
Bye.
All right, it is time for those sponsors, guys.
And we have the Short Box Podcast. The Short Box has been going since 2012. It is a show that features comic and pop culture topics. They have on industry professionals, actors, musicians, and content creators to talk about their projects and the latest fandom news. If you're looking for a new podcast or bored of your old one, check out the Short Box Podcast.
At JJ's Comics and Art, head over to their Instagram bio to check out the latest that they have to offer.
We have Scott's Collectibles. They rep some of the top creators in the business today, and they were kind enough to lend a few of them to us. Head over to scottscollectibles.co.uk to see the latest offerings.
MajorPain.com just launched and is adding new comics every day. Like them on Facebook and join their insider group, or feel free to give them a call so that they can help you find the comics and comic art you're looking for.
We have Alpha Omega Certification. It is the official CGC facilitator for Comic Conline. Check out alphaomegacertification.com for an amazing list of signature submission opportunities.
www.outrightgeekery.com is the exclusive news provider for Comic Conline. Head over to their website and check out the latest in comic-related news.
The Comic Book Shopping Network is a hub where retailers can come together to host live sales every single day. CBSN is the home of some of the best comic deals and people on Facebook.
www.oasiscomics.com, your official home for Jay Lee and David Barron exclusive covers, now available. They have the Power Rangers exclusive colored blank variants.
And get your Comic Conline exclusive over at coffincomicsshop.com. Our German Lady Death cover is gorgeous. Beautiful.
All right, guys, that was John Romita Jr. He was amazing, and we just got confirmation he's coming back for the next show, and we'll tell you when that is in a couple weeks.
Join
But
us Tuesday, though, right?
yeah, Tuesday, where we go
We'll be
and
back
lots of sketches.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of
Yeah,
sketches.
so the sketches for Sell Tuesday from John, so come back. We'll be posting about that on Monday at time and all that stuff.
And up next, guys, in exactly 27 minutes, we'll be joined by the King of Fiends, Brian Polito. So we'll see you then.